ਹੈਲੋ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦਿਲ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਆ ਸਾਰੇ ਦੇਖਣ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਹੋਸਟ ਮੀਨਾ ਜੇ ਐਂਡ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਵਿਦ ਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ ਜੀ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ
Hello everyone.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਸੋ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ
Thank you.
ਫਰਸਟ ਆਫ tell our viewers who Krish is about yourself.
For sure. Hi everyone, my name is Krishna Prakash and I am a content creator, actor, also motivational speaker, and I just love creating content and just being on the scene with movies and just being out there as a regular guy.
Well, regular guy, but you said so much.
Yeah, regular guy say so much, yeah.
Hanji. So, talking about what you do and creating and comedy, maybe give us a bit more information about those things.
So I create relatable skits on Instagram and YouTube, and honestly, I just try to dive into relatable life scenarios and relatable situations that we come across with usually with our parents, usually with our brown parents or South Asian parents, you can say, and just trying to make them funny and make people go like, oh my God, that really happened in a video, right? Because we don't really, we forget that we can all be relatable in some way because we've gone through similar experiences, but sometimes we just hide it off. But when you see it on video, it's like, oh, I've been through that, like I've done that, or that's happened with me and my parents, or with me and my brother. So yeah.
So maybe share a skit with us that you've done, something funny on camera that we can also watch.
Oh my God, a skit that I've done. So usually, if you follow me on Legit Creation on Instagram, I have a vlogging channel on YouTube, and usually it starts off with this, like, what up everyone, it's a boy Legit Creation. I'm back with another video, and usually I go off and just explain my day and explain what's going on in my day, or with my sister, with my family, with my friends, and just like we just have a lot of fun and just show the world like, oh, you can have fun wherever you go.
Yeah, true. And so how did you get into this? What interested you and kind of at a young age?
So I grew up working a lot as a kid, and when it comes to my family, we weren't really in the best position. So I told myself these words like, when I'm older, when I graduate high school, I'm going to pursue my dreams and be who I want to be. And when I graduated high school around 2014, I started making videos on YouTube because I always liked just being on camera, just having fun with people, fun with friends. And I'm like, oh, I just want to make videos and make content and kind of be outside my comfort zone. And it kind of pushed me to create more content, be involved with the community more, and just like be out and about. So I felt really good just making videos, and just made me feel happy inside, just being able to make a video, edit it on the computer, and just be out there with the community.
Yeah, and so you said like community involvement. ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਦੱਸੋ ਕਿ community ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ involved and ਕਿੱਥੇ where are you involved in?
I'm usually involved with the youth. Usually involved with speaking to the youth and trying to connect with the youth. Me growing up, I feel like I wasn't really. I didn't have the same opportunities as the other youth, and I had to work hard just to do the things that I can do today. And I just like to connect with the youth and let them know like how I'm connected to the community is it's mostly with the youth. So I love interacting with the youth. I like having fun with the youth and just discussing things with the youth. I feel like sometimes the youth feels blocked or feels covered and not really able to see the broader picture of things. And I just come in and I'm like, you know what, we can do some crazy fun things, and you don't have to worry about what's going on or what's happening in the world, but just have fun and be involved with your friends, your family, and just create a
dialogue with them.
With them, and like just like be an influence to them, because I feel like sometimes when it comes to, we all have backstories that we're not showing to the world, even to the kids today. There's a lot of things that we don't know, and they hide it with a fake smile, or they hide it with by being funny or being different, or just not putting that life of theirs aside. And when it comes to that, someone needs to be able to show them that it's okay. What you're going through is okay. You don't have to talk about it right now, but just know you're not alone. And I like to come and just let them know that, like, you know what, I don't know what you're going through, but just know that you're not alone, and I've been there. And we can work together, maybe change your world around you.
And so the youth, what ages are they, the range?
Usually, well, it can start from any age. You know what I mean? A child could be struggling when they're 5 years old, to 7 years old, to 10 years old, to 12 years old, right? And it's just a matter of just crossing paths with them, doing speaking events, being able to just go to schools, or being involved in being involved with other community members like Camp We Empower, or Kids Play Foundation, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, just giving your time to them and just being able to speak to the kids, right? Because at the end of the day, the opportunities are there to speak to them. It's just a matter of going to them and going to these places and making the effort. Because at points, a child can feel alone and not being able to connect. But when you're as you become older and you grow your opportunities, you're able to go back and be like, hey, I can help you too, or I can help you make things a little bit better.
And so when did you start working and speaking motivational, motivating youth? When did you start doing that? Like, when was your first kind of speech, or your, connecting to them?
My first speech was a couple of years ago, 2000, I'd say 2006, 17, 15. And I just threw myself on stage, and I'm like, you know what, I want to be able to talk. I want to be able to communicate, and I want to be able to, in a sense, change a person's life in a way, and be able to spread kindness and love to these kids, and be like, yo, like, you're not alone. I'm here. People in this community are here for you, and you may be hiding right now, but it's okay. You will get through this, and just remind them, that the hustle may be hard, but you will get through it. Because I've been through it, but I've also told myself, you know what, like, things will change, and things will happen once you put in the work, and once you keep that hope within you.
And so what were some of the barriers working with youth?
Some of the barriers working with youth was finding events, you can say. Finding events to go to these events, and finding ways to communicate with you, because there can be stepping stones you gotta surpass to be. Do you have the knowledge to talk about it? Do you have the experience to talk about it? Do you know what they're feeling, right? And so it takes time for you. You got to understand yourself first before you can understand the youth and understand kids and what they're going through, and then from there it can lead to, greater heights. Yeah.
And what was the response like when you did your first to now? When you work with youth, you speak with youth, what is the response? Are they pretty receptive and open?
Yep.
What do you find?
Honestly, it's been a really good response with the kids these days, and like just being able to express my story, to have them express their story, and they feel like, because at the end of these sessions, when I usually go and speak, they usually come up to me like, Krish, like, I connected so much with you, like I feel this, and I feel this. I was going through this, and this, but honestly now, hearing you out, like, I feel like I can do better, and I have hope for where I want to go through, and it's always been like a good response with them, and a good like eye-to-eye contact, you know what I mean? And it's always been beautiful just helping them out.
Yeah, and I think when a person that's speaking who has kind of similar experience, so been through and knows and has an understanding, the connection is much deeper, and understands that, and the connect is there. So you talked about kind of your experience, your journey. Maybe tell us a little bit about that.
With my experience and my journey, I grew up working with my parents. So I lived on a farm and I worked with my parents. I was around younger than usual, around grade 6, 7, and from there we left the farm, and we went into different households, right? And because things had occurred and things had happened, and then from there I just my experiences with as my journey came down, it came down to a lot of negativity in my life, and it came down to a lot of just struggling with I guess you could say finances, to struggling with myself. I felt really separated. I did live far away from friends, you can say, so I never really had a connection with a lot of people, and like I mentioned before, like fake smiles. I used to be the kid that had a fake smile on all the time, and I tried to put on a show and put up an act, right? And now that led me to not really. I didn't see anyone, trying to be that person to save that child, or like just like you can say a child like me that day, right? And that led me to, you know, as growing up to be today, like understanding like, you know, there is kids that are struggling, there are kids that aren't really showing them true selves, or are hidden, or aren't comfortable to open up, right? So from that struggle and understanding of what I was personally in my time had led me to kind of be today like, okay, I understand that.
Yes.
And now I can make a difference.
Yeah, so having that understanding, wanting that understanding in your child's, in your youth, and now becoming that person that understands. So we'll talk more after this short break. Welcome back. This is the program Dil Diyan Gallan with your host Meena J, and I'm here with Krish. Thank you for coming to the studio, and we're talking about how you've been a motivational speaker and motivating youth, and also your experience, your journey, what you mentioned. And I think especially in the South Asian community, when we talk about health, mental health, especially mental health, stigma, and what we think, you know, mental health is not really an illness as we view physical illnesses, but especially also men and boys talking about mental health is very rare, and the importance of that. So what would you like to say about boys and men's mental health?
So when it comes down to men and men's mental health, we feel like we get stuck, we don't want to express it, or we're told not to express it, you know.
Yes.
Banda ban, you know, be a man, you know, why are you feeling this way? You shouldn't feel sad, you shouldn't cry, you shouldn't do this, right? And that blocks us from being, you know, be emotional, being connected to other people, being connected to ourselves, where we don't live our truest selves, you can say, in a way, right? Because once we block those feelings, it's just we become afraid to express them, and then we become frustrated. Then we're kind of told to pull off this persona of being a man, right? But it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to have these emotions. And when going through these emotions and told to be this way, kind of leads you to a negative path, and not really being able to, you know, be your truest self, or be happy with who you are, and you kind of get forced to just be that banda, right?
So some of the things that we see with nowadays with the youth is, I guess, the negative impact, and sometimes going towards the negative path. What do you think contributes versus somebody who's going through it but chooses not to take the negative path? So what do you think contributes to that, and how can we help youth?
I feel like what contributes is the pressure of other people, peer pressure from maybe, okay, it could be your family, or it could be your friends, right? And peer pressure itself leads to blockages, and I feel like it promotes you to become something that maybe you're not. Maybe you're actually not happy inside right now. Maybe you're not finding, you don't know how to express it to someone, or you don't feel safe to express it, or you're afraid you're going to get bullied, or you're afraid you're going to get, you know, you're going to be, you know, kind of told that you're something else, right? Maybe, I don't know, most likely just pressured to be something, told to be something that you're really not. And that kind of contributes to you suppressing it, and you becoming negative, and you not being happy with yourself. And two ways to kind of grow from that, or to change that, is usually finding sources like counselors, or finding a true friend, or making true friends, or even talking to your family members, or I'm feeling this way. Not even family, maybe just finding a counselor, because our schools provide counselors, and we're able to speak to our counselors too, or even there's hotlines you can talk to as well, right? It's a matter of searching, and once you search, you will accomplish and lead somewhere. It's a matter of just searching, not closing yourself off, because there's sources available. We just got to find them.
And sometimes if an individual is not at that point where they can search and not kind of connect with people, how can one motivate themselves or take that first step?
I feel like how you can take that first step is sit down with yourself and be honest with yourself first. Be like, and let yourself know, like, I need help. Like, I'm not okay. and it's okay to feel what you're feeling and kind of block the world around you and just discuss, kind of like write it out with yourself, or maybe talk to yourself on camera or something like that, right? Like, I'm not okay and I need help, and slowly use the sources available today for you to find your answers, like the internet, right? We can find sources through the internet, we can find sources through our school counselors, or even through maybe just discussing things with people. There's outlets available, but just a matter of just sitting down with yourself first and honestly recognizing that you're going through something, and then taking the first step is, okay, I can go on Google and I can Google something, or I can go to my counselor and find something.
And you know, Jidappa, you talked about it before, where there's this pressure or stigma about, especially boys or men, ke banda ban, or you know, like boys don't cry, you know, munde nahi ronde hunde, ja koi gal nahi. Somebody, you know, that maybe you know, and a man, a boy, who does not see it or knows, but does not know how to seek help. How can you support somebody or provide support to them?
Just sit down with them and talk to them, honestly, and listen. First step is to listen, not really let them speak, let them release in their own way, and just listen to them and honestly be like, I'm here for you. Like, I got you, you know, as a good friend or family or anyone, and could just let them know that they're not alone. That, you know, if they're going through something, like, they can come and talk to you. And not feel judged, because the one's fear is to be judged. Right. And when you know you're not going to be judged with someone, you feel safe, and that leads you to opening up more and just keeping that trust secure with one another.
Yeah, and like you said, you know, in your childhood, you wish there was that someone that had asked you. So maybe being that someone that asks. So it's very important, I think, especially in youth, that they're heard, and you know, of what they want. Because sometimes we think, or adults think, we know what the youth want or what to put in place, but the importance of actually hearing what they need to say and what their needs are. So working with youth and speaking, motivational speaker, who else in the community, or what other community kind of events or things that you do?
Usually I MC. My goal is acting, so I'm an actor.
Okay.
So I usually just, when it comes to community events, I come down and MC, or I do a little speech or a bigger speech for mostly for the youth. But the goal is acting and also being in movies and just creating content on the with the public and with community members as well. So.
So you got into Legit Creations, which is you know, comedy style, and sometimes we say, or you know, like the comedians, and really kind of their own story where they've been lonely inside. So you've had your journey, experienced that, and now you want to make people laugh and also share your own experience that will help others. So how did you make that connection? How did you decide that, you know, this is the route I want to reach youth or people in general?
It started with just me sitting with myself one day, and I just like sat down and I'm like, what do I want to do? Like, I want to make an impact. I told myself I want to make an impact, and crazy as this may sound, I want to change the world.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest dream, as everyone or any human, right? And I told myself, you know what, I see Legit Creation doing that. And I created that name out of nowhere. It just hit me like this, right? And that's how I just see Legit Creation as, where Legit Creation is a person that connects with people, but also, you know, influences a generation that can impact the world. And, you know, being myself, I know a journey like that isn't done alone.
Yeah.
And a journey like that is done with the people. And so I just want to be involved with the people and create that impact. So when Legit Creation was made, that's how I felt about it.
Yeah, and so addressing issues, addressing mental health issues, how do you think we can, I mean, through the years, especially in our community, there's more talk about it, more awareness about it. How do you see yourself creating an impact or creating more awareness about issues?
I believe social media nowadays is a platform that one you can be afraid of, or one you can accept. And you shouldn't be afraid to speak what you want to speak on social media when it comes to even putting up a story, to putting up a post. And I believe, for me, as the journey of life goes on, you will make mistakes. But as you are willing to accept those mistakes and grow, you'll be able to speak more wider of your experiences. And so I believe to create this movement is just to speak your truth.
Yeah.
Speak your truth and speak how you feel about things, and honestly be willing to learn from the people.
Exactly.
Because I get messages sometimes saying, hey, I don't know if I agree with this. I'm like, okay, cool, we can talk about it, right? And I'm willing to learn, right? But honestly, keep speaking what you feel and keep speaking love and truth to the world, and you know that will cause the movement to happen naturally. Maybe not with me, but most like with someone else.
I mean, even if I think you reach one person, you've made a difference, you know, in the world. So talking about mental health and your experience, what do you do for yourself to take care of yourself, like self-care needs and keeping yourself grounded? What kind of things do you do?
I have a morning routine. So I wake up in the morning, I meditate, I read, and I write. That's one of the ways I keep myself grounded. I have good family and friends, so they keep me grounded. They let me know what's up, what's going on, and also just working out.
Yeah.
Working
so keeping yourself healthy, keeping your mind and body healthy at the same time.
Yeah.
And working with youth, what do you think kind of the most major issues are at this level or at this stage?
Fear of expressing, fear of opening up, because a lot of times we don't understand that when it comes to the education system, you're put into a box and you're afraid to express to people, because once you express someone else, maybe rumors will start, maybe this will happen, maybe this. So the fear of expressing becomes something that becomes an issue, because when it gets locked up inside, we don't know how to let it out, right? Who to talk to, who to trust, right? And so I feel like that becomes one of the issues for the youth. But as slow and steady things progress, and as we have more discussions like this, it becomes okay to express. And it becomes okay, and now, you know, making more sources visual to the youth makes it easier for them to say, okay, this is actually available for me.
Yeah, and access them.
Yeah.
So it's been very nice talking to you,
Thank you.
and especially about what you do. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming to the studio and sharing your experience and about what you do and your comedy side.
For sure. Thank you.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਸੋ ਇੱਥੇ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸਮਾਪਤ ਹੋਇਆ। ਉਮੀਦ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਸੰਦ ਆਇਆ। Until next time, this is Meena J.
ਸਾਡਾ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵੇਖਣ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜਨ ਲਈ ਸਬਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰੋ ਚੈਨਲ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੇ ਨੋਟੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਈ ਬੈਲ ਆਈਕਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਬਟਨ ਤੇ ਕਲਿੱਕ ਕਰੋ।